There's something no one tells you about leaving your country. You don't just lose touch with friends back home, you lose touch with the version of yourself they knew. And that person, she might not be coming back. Today, I'm talking about how changing your life forces you to confront which relationships were actually built on who you are and which ones were just convenient. Hi, I'm Maria, welcome back to my channel. When I moved from Portugal to Southeast Asia, I thought the hardest part would be the practical stuff. Visas, apartments, adjusting to the food and weather. I was wrong. The hardest part was watching my friendships dissolve in real time and slowly realizing that back in Portugal they were probably already heading in that direction. When I first announced that I was leaving my job in Portugal, some of my friends celebrated with me. They knew how uncomfortable and unhappy I was in that life, so they were really supportive, asking about my plans, excited for my future. But a few months after I moved, there was silence. Not dramatic silence, but these small growing gaps in our conversations. I would pick up my phone to text someone about my day, maybe how the restaurant owner remembered my usual order, or this incredible sunset from my apartment. I would type the message, hit send, and suddenly I feel the disconnect. The lack of interest was palpable. They were dealing with traffic jams and office politics and school runs, and I was excited about a friendly wave from a stranger. Eventually, I started writing messages and just deleting them. Those deleting messages start piling up in my mind. All these small joys and discoveries that I couldn't share because they didn't fit our usual conversation patterns anymore. That's when I realized something uncomfortable. Back home, my friendships were built on shared complaints. We bonded over mutual struggles, traffic, work stress, expensive rent, difficult bosses. And of course, we talked about good things too, but I now realize that it's much easier to connect around what's wrong than what's right. And when I stepped out of that world, the dynamic completely shifted. Without the same stress or problems, we didn't know how to connect anymore. And honestly, I felt it too. I stopped wanting to have the same conversations about the same complaints. My mind was elsewhere, with different experiences, different possibilities, different problems worth solving. Living in a different country puts you around people with entirely different concepts of what matters, how to spend time, what success looks like. I met people who switched careers, people who prioritize experience over security, people who had lived in different countries. And when you're surrounded by different backgrounds, cultures, and life stages, you start to see that there are infinite ways of structure a life. Not better or worse necessarily, just more ways than you ever imagined. It's one thing to see lifestyles changes on social media, but it's completely different to sit with these real people, hear their real stories, their real challenges, their real reason for choosing unconventional paths. A whole new world opens up. It wasn't just about meeting different types of people, it was realizing that my old environment had been limiting my social possibilities. Back home, everyone was following similar life scripts. When you change your environment dramatically like I did, something interesting happens. You create space for connections that match your new frequency. And by frequency, I mean your new priorities, your new curiosities, your new way of processing the world. I've had conversations here that would have been almost impossible in my old environment, not because people back home weren't intelligent or interesting, but because we were all operating within the same cultural assumptions, the same unspoken agreements about how life should work. Here, I can talk to someone I just met from the other side of the world, and we are immediately connected by something deeper than background or culture. We are connected by choice, the decision to step outside conventional paths, and that creates a powerful bond. If you're enjoying this video, please consider subscribing my channel, give it a thumbs up and share it with friends or family. Now, let's get back to the video. There's this relief that comes with being understood, by people who don't think that your life changes were crazy or dramatic. People who get why you left conventional success behind without needing explanations. People who share your curiosity about different ways of living. These aren't better people than my old friends. They are just aligned with who I'm becoming rather than attached to who I used to be. All of this journey involves genuine grief. There are moments when the distance really aches. Birthdays you miss, inside jokes that don't land the same way anymore, conversations that feel forced when they used to flow naturally. I used to feel guilty about this drift, like I was abandoning people or becoming someone selfish or ungrateful, but I've realized that staying somewhere familiar just because it's familiar, whether that's a place, a job, or even a friendship dynamic, long term creates more frustration and resentment toward myself. Sometimes your growth highlights other people's stagnation. Your changes can make them question their own choices, their own comfort zones. And that discomfort isn't your responsibility to manage. That resistance isn't always about you. It's often about what your transformation represents to them. I'm still mourning relationships that didn't survive my life change. There's a specific sadness in realizing that some people knew and liked the old version of me, and they might not be interested in getting to know who I am becoming. But I'm learning that it's important to allow myself to feel that emptiness, to grieve those losses without guilt or trying to fix them. Because the regret of not having courage to embrace something new is worse than the temporary loneliness of growth. I have fewer close relationships now, but the ones I have are deeper. They are built in who I'm becoming, not just shared circumstances. And there's a difference between having people to hang out with and having people who genuinely wants to see you grow. People who celebrate your wins without feeling diminished by them. People who challenge you to think differently instead of just validating what you already believe. I miss the comfort of being understood without explanation, but I don't miss feeling stuck in conversations that went nowhere or pretending to care about complaints that felt meaningless. If my old friends and I find our way back to each other in a few years, we'll have more stories to tell. If we don't, that doesn't diminish what we shared when our lives were more aligned. Our environment has enormous influence over our social possibilities. If you want different kinds of friendships, conversations, experience, you often need to put yourself in different kinds of environments. This doesn't necessarily mean moving to another country, but it can be powerfully effective. Be patient while new connections develop naturally, because the right people will appreciate who you are becoming, not just who you have been. Moving abroad taught me that changing my life isn't just about changing my circumstances. I'm rewriting the story of who I am and allowing my relationships to rewrite themselves too. Thank you for listening. I'll see you soon. So when I moved to Portugal, when I moved to Portugal, and I moved from Portugal, small growing gaps in our their own comfort. And there's this. The lack of interest was palpable. Palpable.